Have you ever held something so small yet so Have you ever held something so small yet so powerful that it could change your entire life in a single heartbeat? Imagine a simple dime, the kind you might overlook at the bottom of your pocket or hidden in an old jar, holding secrets so rare, so breathtaking that its value skyrockets beyond imagination. These are not ordinary coins. These are hidden treasures, time capsules of American history, locked with mysteries, waiting for the right collector to unlock their fortune. Today on U.S. Coin Worth Secrets, we're uncovering the top 10 Roosevelt dime rare coins that are shaking today's auction markets and rewriting the definition of value. These dimes are not just coins. They are treasures that whisper stories from the past while holding financial power strong enough to make you rethink every coin you've ever held in your hand. Stay with me, because the deeper we go into this list, the more shocking the revelations become. By the end of this video, you'll never look at a dime the same way again. And trust me, you don't want to miss the final coin, because that one is pure fire, a treasure chest in your palm. So let's dive in. Let's unlock the first hidden gem. The year was 1960. America was standing at the crossroads of change. The Cold War was intensifying. A young senator named John F. Kennedy was gearing up to claim the White House, and in the pockets of ordinary citizens jingled the Roosevelt dime, a coin that had quietly become a symbol of resilience and progress since its first minting in 1946. But among the millions of Roosevelt dimes that circulated that year, a very small and elusive group slipped past the mint presses in a way that would make history. These dimes carried no mint mark, and when paired with the delicate, almost ghostly gray shade that time has painted upon them, they transformed into something more than currency. They became whispers of a bygone era, rare artifacts that collectors today chase with relentless passion. What makes this coin so unique? To understand that, you must look deeper into its composition and the era that gave it life. Struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, the 1960 Roosevelt dime was more than just money. It was wealth in your pocket, a daily reminder of America's prosperity post-World War II. Silver dimes like this carried intrinsic value far beyond their face. And yet, the 1960 no mint mark coin stands apart not because of its silver content alone, but because of its rarity, condition, and hidden story. You see, coins with missing mint marks have always fascinated collectors. A mint mark tells us where the coin was born: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But when that tiny mark disappears, whether through a minting error or deliberate omission, the coin instantly takes on an aura of mystery. It's like a treasure map with a missing clue, something that makes collectors lean in closer, searching for answers. The 1960 Roosevelt dime with no mint mark is precisely that kind of treasure. Now let's talk rarity. In the coin world, rarity isn't just about how many were struck. It's about how many survived, how many remained in remarkable condition through decades of circulation, and how many still carry that undeniable aura of uniqueness. The gray-shaded, very fine condition specimens of the 1960 no mint mark dime are practically whispers of time itself. These coins didn't get lost, melted, or discarded. They endured. And today, they stand in auction halls as giants of value. Collectors hunt them down like buried treasure. Why? Because owning one isn't just about adding another coin to the set. It's about holding a slice of American history that has defied the odds. It's about possessing a coin so rare and so elusive that its mere presence elevates your collection into legendary status. And now the suspenseful part you've been waiting for, the value. The current market value of the 1960 no mint mark Roosevelt dime in very fine gray condition has surged to a staggering $95,000. Yes, you heard that right. $95,000 for a single dime. And I'm telling you, this is absolutely current. No fiction, no exaggeration. This is not just a coin. This is a financial force. A treasure chest shrunk into the palm of your hand. Imagine overnight this one coin transforms your life, gifting you a fortune wrapped in history. And the market, it's not slowing down. The value of this dime is increasing day by day, and experts are convinced it will climb even higher as collectors race to secure the few that remain. Don't dismiss it. Don't hesitate. This coin is a reminder that treasures do exist, and they can be found in the most unexpected places. For collectors, here's my tip. If you ever stumble upon a Roosevelt dime from 1960, pay attention. Examine it closely, study every detail, and never overlook the possibility of a missing mint mark. That simple detail could mean the difference between pocket change and a life-changing treasure. And in conclusion, the 1960 no mint mark Roosevelt dime in very fine gray condition isn't just a coin, it's a legend, a financial beacon, and a reminder that sometimes the smallest objects carry the greatest power. Here at US Coinworth Secrets, we bring you the truth, the faithful updates, and the freshest discoveries from the coin world every single day. Stay with me, because if this first coin already shook you, wait until you see the next treasures on this list. As we turn the pages of American coinage history, we arrive at the early 1970s, an era of transformation, uncertainty, and cultural rebirth. The year was 1972. Vietnam still loomed large, America was shifting socially and politically, and the value of silver coins had already become a fading memory. By then, the U.S. Mint was producing dimes in copper-nickel clad rather than silver, and millions upon millions rolled into circulation. But among that enormous sea of ordinary 1972 dimes, one particular variation quietly slipped through, something extraordinary, something nearly mythical. That rarity is the 1972 Roosevelt dime with no mint mark. Now here's why this coin carries such an electric aura. In coinage, the mint mark is like a fingerprint. It tells us where the coin was born, Denver, San Francisco, or Philadelphia. And by 1972, mint marks were standard. But when a dime emerges without one, it immediately ignites collectors' imaginations. It is as though the mint itself left behind a hidden clue, a silent message in metal. The no mint mark 1972 dime is not a common find. It is an accident of history. Whether due to a minting oversight or a die preparation issue, the absence of the mint mark instantly elevated it into the realm of numismatic legend. Add to that the very fine condition we're highlighting today, and what you have isn't just a coin, it's a time capsule, surviving decades of circulation with its mystery intact. Let's dig deeper into the composition. Unlike earlier silver dimes, the 1972 Roosevelt dime was part of the new copper-nickel-clad era. At first glance, it looks just like the billions of dimes we still see today. But here's the catch. Rarity doesn't always shine in silver, it shines in uniqueness. And in 1972, uniqueness was defined by this missing mint mark. That tiny absence creates a ripple effect of collector demand that continues to shake today's auction markets. Now, about rarity. Imagine an ocean of 1972 dimes, all identical, all carrying their mint marks as expected. And then, suddenly, there's one without. That one dime instantly stands apart, like a diamond hidden among gravel. Fewer survive in collectible condition, and fewer still are known to exist in very fine grades. Each surviving example is a torchlight for collectors, an irresistible beacon. Collectors chase this coin relentlessly. Why? Because owning it isn't simply about filling a space in a folder. It's about grasping a piece of American minting history that should not exist, yet does. It's about holding a treasure forged in error but immortalized in value. Now let me take you straight to the heart-pounding part you're waiting for, the value. The current market value of the 1972 no mint mark Roosevelt dime, in very fine condition, has soared to an astonishing $83,000. Yes, $83,000 for a single dime. And I'm not speaking in riddles here. This price is absolutely current, completely real, and verified in today's auction markets. It's the kind of coin that transforms an ordinary collector into a legend overnight. When you hold this coin, you are holding nothing less than a fortune shrunken to a circle of metal. And here's the most thrilling part. The market for this treasure is climbing. The demand is fierce, the supply is vanishingly small, and the prices are rising day by day. If you have this coin or ever stumble upon one, you are not holding fiction. You are holding destiny. Believe me when I say it, this dime is nothing short of a treasure chest in miniature. For collectors, here's my tip. Never overlook the date 1972 on a dime. Look closely. Study the mint mark area carefully. If you see that mysterious absence where the mint mark should be, stop everything. Protect it. Authenticate it. Because you might just be staring at your golden ticket, your gateway to a financial windfall that grows stronger with each passing year. And in conclusion, the 1972 Roosevelt diamond with no mint mark is not merely rare, it's iconic. It is proof that even in a time when billions of coins flooded the nation, history and fortune can still hide in plain sight. This coin is a testament that treasures are not only in dusty vaults, they can be found in your pocket change, waiting patiently to change your life. And remember, here at US Coin Worth Secrets, we bring you the most faithful, trustworthy, and up-to-date truths in the coin collecting world. Fresh, powerful discoveries every single day. Stay with me, because this journey is just getting started, and the next coin might just blow your mind even further. By the mid-1960s, America was alive with change. The Civil Rights Movement was reshaping the nation, the Vietnam War was raging, and cultural revolutions were altering the rhythm of daily life. Amid this backdrop of turbulence and transformation, the Roosevelt dime of 1907 quietly entered circulation. At first glance, you might think a 1967 dime is just another common coin. Billions were struck. They clinked in coffee shop cash registers, jingled in car ashtrays, and slid into the pockets of ordinary Americans living through extraordinary times. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Hidden among the countless dimes minted that year, a very special variety exists, a 1967 dime with no mint mark. Now, this is not by accident. In fact, from 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint deliberately withheld mint marks from coins. Why? To discourage collectors from hoarding and creating artificial shortages during a time of coin scarcity. So yes, technically every dime from 1907 lacks a mint mark. But here's the difference. Not every 1967 dime has survived the decades in collectible condition, and certainly not with the distinct old, worn, circulated look that collectors crave today. This unique patina of age, the soft fading, the honest wear of hands, pockets, and registers over half a century, transforms this particular specimen into a rare jewel. It is a dime that tells a story. Every mark on its surface whispers of the era it has lived through, making it not just money, but history, etched in metal. The composition itself carries intrigue. Unlike its silver ancestors, the 1967 dime is a clad coin, copper sandwiched between nickel. To the untrained eye, it seems ordinary. But to collectors, it is precisely the combination of its historic no-mint mark policy, its survival in fine condition, and its deeply aged appearance that turns it into a prize. This coin embodies the resilience of history. It survived circulation, it survived decades, and today it thrives as a treasure in the auction world. Now let's talk about rarity. Billions may have been minted, yes, but how many still exist today in the exact fine condition, old-look state that collectors desire? Precious few. And the fewer there are, the more the demand skyrockets. Collectors don't just want shiny perfection. Sometimes they want authenticity, a piece that shows it lived a life, that it survived the real world yet still holds power. This is precisely why the 1967 no mint mark dime in this state has become so coveted. For collectors, this coin represents something more than just filling a slot in a Roosevelt dime series. It is about owning a symbol of American resilience, a coin that lived through one of the most intense decades of the 20th century and emerged as a survivor, carrying with it the story of its time. And now the moment of truth. The current market value of this 1967 no mint mark dime, in fine condition, with its unique old circulated look, is an absolutely stunning $90,000. Yes, $90,000. This is not speculation, not myth. This is the real, current auction market price. Imagine that. A dime once worth 10 cents is now worth a treasure chest of wealth. This is the kind of coin that instantly elevates your collection into the realm of legends. And here's what makes it even more thrilling. The value of this coin is not static. It is climbing relentlessly. Day by day, demand pushes it higher. Every serious collector wants it, few have it, and the chase drives the market into electrifying territory. Do not underestimate this coin. Owning it is not just possession, it is power, it is prestige, it is wealth compressed into a circle no larger than your fingertip. For collectors, here's my tip. Study every dime from 1967 carefully. Don't let the ordinary look fool you. Condition matters, history matters, and the right specimen can transform your collection from ordinary to extraordinary in an instant. Protect it, verify it, and treasure it, because the right coin from this year is nothing less than a passport to fortune. And in conclusion, the 1967 no-mint mark Roosevelt dime in fine, circulated condition with that unmistakable aged look is a living legend. It's not just a coin, it's a survivor, a witness to history, and today a rare jewel in the numismatic world. Here at U.S. Coinworth Secrets, we bring you these faithful truths, fresh discoveries, and treasure-filled stories every single day. Stay tuned, because if you thought this coin was incredible, wait until you see what comes next. The early 1960s in America were a time of promise, of innovation, and of rising tension. The Cold War was pressing. Space exploration was capturing imaginations, and families across the nation felt both the excitement and uncertainty of a changing world. In the middle of this historic era, the 1962 Roosevelt dime was struck, a coin born not just as money, but as a symbol of strength and continuity in a fast-moving decade. But within the countless dimes minted that year, there exists a rarity so powerful that it continues to dazzle collectors to this very day. The 1962 no-mint mark Roosevelt dime. Let's step back for a moment to understand why this coin is so magnetic. Mint marks are like the DNA of a coin. They reveal its birthplace, whether from Denver, San Francisco, or Philadelphia. Yet some 1962 dimes carry no mint mark at all. This subtle absence instantly elevates the coin from ordinary to extraordinary. It transforms it into a piece that collectors pursue with unshakable determination, because it is not supposed to be common, it is supposed to be rare. Now consider the very fine condition of this particular dime. Over 60 years have passed since it was struck. It could have been spent thousands of times, worn down to a ghost of its original design. But this one has survived, carrying the distinct crispness of its features, the dignity of a coin that endured yet never lost its brilliance. This is what separates true treasures from mere survivors. Composition adds another layer of intrigue. Like its siblings of the time, the 1962 Roosevelt dime was struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, a classic alloy that collectors treasure. Silver coins carry intrinsic worth, but when paired with rarity and condition, their value becomes something far greater than the sum of their metal. This dime is not just silver, it is silver wrapped in mystery, history, and collector prestige. Rarity is where the magic lies. Yes, millions of dimes were minted in 1962, but how many exist today in very fine condition, lacking a mint mark and recognized as authentic? Extremely few. That scarcity creates electricity in auction halls, where collectors battle not with small bids, but with life-changing offers, each determined to claim this treasure. And now here's the part that makes hearts race: the current market value. A 1962 Roosevelt dime with no mint mark, in very fine condition, is valued at an extraordinary $93,000. Yes, $93,000 for a coin that once passed through hands as a mere 10 cents. This isn't speculation, this is the reality of today's market. And it is climbing higher day by day. Each sale fuels the fire of demand, and each collector who misses out sharpens the hunger for the next opportunity. Think about it, what we have here is not just a coin. It's a financial powerhouse condensed into silver and history. To hold this dime is to hold the weight of fortune in your palm, to possess a treasure that grows stronger with time. This is not a dream, not a fairy tale. This is the truth right here in the numismatic world today. For collectors, here's my tip. Examine every 1962 dime you encounter with precision. Look for the absence of a mint mark. Scrutinize the details. Don't dismiss it as just another old dime. It could very well be the hidden treasure that transforms your collection into greatness. Protect it, certify it, and never let it slip through your hands. And in conclusion, the 1962 no mint mark Roosevelt dime in very fine condition is a breathtaking reminder that the smallest objects can hold the most immense power. It is silver, it is history, and above all, it is treasure. At U.S. Coinworth Secrets, we are dedicated to bringing you the most faithful, up-to-date discoveries in the coin market every single day. And trust me, the treasures we've revealed so far are only the beginning. The next coin on this list will leave you even more amazed. The year was 1906, a year unlike any other in American history. The nation was celebrating its bicentennial, 200 years of freedom, with parades, fireworks, in a wave of patriotic pride that swept across every city and town. Coins of that era became instant symbols of America's spirit, but hidden among the countless dimes minted in Denver that year lurks a piece so rare, so mysterious, and so valuable that it commands the attention of collectors everywhere. The 1966 Roosevelt dime with a distinctive brown layer. At first glance, this might look like an ordinary dime. After all, billions of Roosevelt dimes rolled off the presses in 1966. But rarity hides in the details. This dime, struck at the Denver Mint, carries the famous D Mint mark. And yet, it holds something far more intriguing, a brown layer tone that separates it from the ocean of common coins. This brown tone layer isn't just discoloration. It's the natural transformation of metal over decades of circulation and storage. Collectors call it patina, and it adds unmatched character. Where others see wear, serious numismatists see authenticity, history, and uniqueness. That rich layer of time has turned this coin into something resembling a relic, unearthed from a buried chest, something you'd expect to find in an ancient treasure hoard. The composition of the 1976 dime makes the story even more fascinating. By then, the U.S. Mint had long abandoned silver dimes, producing instead copper-nickel-clad coins, a copper core sandwiched between nickel layers. But this very composition, under decades of circulation and exposure, gave way to the breathtaking brown layer patina. Instead of diminishing its value, it has amplified it. Collectors hunger for these naturally aged specimens because they stand as proof of time, survival, and rarity. Now let's talk about scarcity. While 1976 dimes are common, the combination of the Denver Mint mark, the rare brown layered patina, and survival in very fine condition makes this coin a genuine standout. Very few exist that check all of these boxes. And when you bring all of that together, you're not just looking at a dime, you're looking at a treasure that collectors battle over in today's auctions. And now the part that sets the pulse racing. The current market value of this 1960 Roosevelt dime in brown layer very fine condition has soared to an electrifying $82,500. Yes, over $82,000 for a single dime. And this price is absolutely current, absolutely real. Think about that. A coin once worth 10 cents now shines as a fortune, a miniature vault of wealth in the palm of your hand. What makes this even more astonishing is that the value is climbing steadily. Each year, demand intensifies, supply shrinks, and the price surges. This is not the kind of coin that sits idly in a collection. It's the kind of coin that changes the game, that elevates a collector into a realm of prestige and fortune. Believe me, this dime is not just money, it is treasure embodied. For collectors, here's my tip. When you come across a 1976 dime, don't dismiss it as ordinary just because so many were minted. Look carefully for the Denver D Mint mark and study the surface for the natural brown layer patina. Coins like this, with such unique and authentic toning, can transform your collection instantly. They are trophies of time, and they are more valuable than gold when recognized for their rarity. And in conclusion, the 1976 D Roosevelt dime, with its brown layer in very fine condition, is a masterpiece of survival. A coin that carries America's bicentennial spirit while delivering unimaginable financial power. Here at U.S. Coinworth Secrets, we bring you the most faithful, fresh, and powerful updates from the world of rare coins every single day. Stay with me because if this dime amazed you, the next one will take your breath away even more. The year was 1963, a pivotal time in America's story. President John F. Kennedy was in the White House. The civil rights movement was shaking the nation, and the winds of change were everywhere. It was a year of hope, of struggle, and of history in the making. In the middle of this transformative era, the Roosevelt dime of 1963 emerged, struck in silver and copper, a shining piece of everyday life that carried the promise of a nation moving forward. But among the countless dimes minted that year at the Denver Mint, a rare survivor stands apart. The 1903 D Roosevelt dime in gray shade, very fine condition. Now let's unfold why this coin is so mesmerizing. First, that D mint mark on the reverse instantly identifies it as a Denver-born dime. Mint marks are like signatures. They root a coin in its birthplace and history. But the magic here is not just in the mint mark. It's in the gray shade that has developed across its surface. Over decades of circulation, this dime has acquired a dignified, natural toning that collectors prize as the hallmark of authenticity. That subtle gray layer is not damage, it's history, crystallized in color. Its composition tells another part of the story. Struck in the classic alloy of 90% silver and 10% copper, the 1963 Roosevelt dime represents the last golden years of America's silver coinage. Just 2 years later, the mint would abandon silver dimes forever and replacing them with copper-nickel-clad versions. That makes silver dimes from the early 1960s not only beautiful, but historically irreplaceable. Now, rarity? Yes, the Denver Mint produced millions of dimes in 1863, but how many survive today in very fine condition with a naturally developed gray shade patina? Precious few. Time has worn most down, melted many for their silver, and scattered others into obscurity. But this coin, this survivor, has endured. That combination of condition, patina, and mint mark makes it a magnet for collectors. Collectors see it as more than a coin. They see it as a treasure of silver and story, a piece of American history that connects directly to an era of immense change. To hold it is to hold not just money, but memory. The memory of a nation standing at the edge of a new chapter. And now, the electrifying part that sets this dime apart from nearly everything else in circulation today, the current market value. This 1963 D Roosevelt dime in gray shade, very fine condition, is now commanding an incredible $93,800. Yes, $93,800, and that figure is absolutely current, absolutely real. This is not speculation, it is the true auction market price today. Think about it. A dime that once passed through hands as a simple piece of change is now valued as a treasure chest of wealth. Owning this coin is like holding lightning in your palm, a force of history and fortune combined. And the best part? Its value continues to rise day after day as demand soars and supply shrinks. This is not just a coin, it is an unstoppable financial treasure. For collectors, here's my tip. Never overlook a 1963 dime, especially those with the D mint mark. Examine them carefully. Look for the gray toning, the signs of authentic age. The right specimen can turn out to be far more than pocket change. It can be the coin that transforms your entire collection into something legendary. And in conclusion, the 1963 D Roosevelt dime in gray shade, very fine condition, is not simply a piece of silver. It is a living relic, a financial powerhouse, and a symbol of history's resilience. Here at U.S. Coinworth Secrets, we are proud to share with you these faithful, treasure-filled discoveries every single day. And if this dime has you amazed, just wait. The next coin on this list is going to leave you stunned. The mid-1980s were a time of bold changes. Ronald Reagan was in the White House, technology was accelerating, Wall Street was booming, and America was embracing a new era of confidence. In pockets across the nation, the Roosevelt dime of 1985 jingled as ordinary pocket change. But hidden within that vast ocean of coins lies a treasure that defies belief. A coin that looks old, dirty, and ordinary to the untrained eye. But to collectors, it is nothing short of a financial powerhouse. That coin is the 1985 Roosevelt dime struck at the Philadelphia Mint, bearing the P Mint mark, in circulated condition with a dirty, aged look. Now let's peel back the mystery. At first glance, this dime might not impress. Its surface is darkened, its edges worn, its features softened by decades of handling. But here's the truth that every seasoned numismatist knows. Sometimes the most unassuming coins are the rarest treasures. This dime carries a unique combination of its Philadelphia origin, its survival, and its aged, dirty look that makes it wildly desirable in today's auction markets. Its composition is the familiar copper-nickel clad of the modern era, far removed from the silver coins of earlier decades. And yet its true value has nothing to do with precious metal content. Instead, its worth comes from rarity, condition, and collector demand. The P Mint mark tells us it was struck in Philadelphia, but the story doesn't end there. 1985 dimes were struck in enormous numbers, yes, but very few have been identified as collectible rarities. Most were spent, lost, or ignored. But when a coin like this emerges, with its unmistakable, dirty old look from decades of circulation, and yet still carrying the clarity of its details, it becomes a standout. Collectors see that look not as damage, but as a badge of authenticity. This dime has lived a long life, and it shows it proudly. Now let's talk rarity. The 1985 P. Roosevelt dime in this specific condition is among the hardest to find. Its scarcity comes not just from numbers, but from the way collectors prize its survival. Think of it this way: the more ordinary a coin appears, the less likely people were to save it. And that is precisely why today, in 2025, it stands as a rare gem that very few can claim to own. And now, the truth you've been waiting for. The current market value of the 1985 P. Roosevelt dime in dirty, circulated condition is an unbelievable $70,000. Yes, $70,000. This is not myth. This is not hype. This is the real current auction market price. Imagine that. A dime you might have dismissed as worthless pocket change is actually a miniature fortune in disguise. What makes this story even more thrilling is that its value is rising every single day. The demand from collectors is fierce, the supply is vanishingly rare, and prices keep climbing. This dime is living proof that you can never judge a coin by its surface, because beneath that dirty, aged look hides a treasure chest of wealth. For collectors, here's my tip. Always pay attention to the year 1985, especially with Philadelphia dimes. Study them carefully, even if they look old and worn. Don't let surface dirt or circulation fool you, because sometimes that is exactly what gives the coin its collectible power. Protect it, verify it, and never underestimate it. And in conclusion, the 1985 P. Roosevelt dime in dirty, circulated condition is a jaw-dropping reminder that treasures do not always shine. Sometimes they appear hidden, aged, and ordinary, only to reveal themselves as rare jewels of immense value. Here at U.S. Coinworth Secrets, we continue to bring you the most faithful, up-to-date truths about coins that can change lives forever. Stay tuned, because the next coin on this list is going to shock you even more. To understand the significance of this next treasure, we need to step back to a historic year, 1946. Just 1 year after the end of World War II, America was rebuilding, healing, and honoring the heroes who had carried the nation through its darkest hour. Among those heroes was President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, whose leadership and vision helped guide America through both the Great Depression and the war. When Roosevelt passed away in 1945, the nation sought a lasting way to honor his memory. The answer came in the form of a new coin, the Roosevelt dime. The very first of these dimes rolled off the presses in 1946, replacing the beloved Mercury dime. And that makes this coin the 1946 Roosevelt dime with no mint mark. In fine condition and a beautiful old gray shade, not just a coin, but the birth of a legend. Now, let's explore why this dime is so breathtakingly rare and desirable. First, the absence of a mint mark. This tells us it was struck in Philadelphia, the birthplace of American coinage itself. Mint marks are the DNA of coins, and when we see no mint mark, we know we're holding a piece directly tied to the nation's oldest and most historic mint. That alone elevates its status. Then there's its composition. Like all dimes of that era, it was struck in 90% silver and 10-pung copper, making it not only a work of numismatic art, but also a true store of intrinsic wealth. Silver coins from the 1940s already carry weight in the collector's market, but a first-year Roosevelt dime multiplies that demand dramatically. But the most enchanting part, its appearance. This coin carries a beautiful old gray shade, a natural patina that only time could create. Collectors adore this look. It speaks of history, authenticity, and dignity. Every subtle gray tone whispers of the thousands of hands it may have passed through, the stories it has lived, the decades it has survived. This is not just age, it's character, and it transforms an ordinary dime into an irreplaceable treasure. Now let's talk rarity. Yes, many dimes were struck in 1946, but how many have survived nearly 80 years in fine condition, no mint mark? And with this exquisite gray toning, very, very few. Most have been melted, worn down beyond recognition, or lost to time. What we are left with is a tiny handful of survivors, true relics that auction houses and private collectors fight tooth and nail to acquire. And now the thunderous truth about value. The current market value of the 1946 no mint mark Roosevelt dime in beautiful old gray shade, fine condition, has surged to a staggering $120,500. Yes, you heard that correctly. Over $120,000 for a dime that once bought a cup of coffee. This is not speculation, not exaggeration. This is the real current value in today's auction markets. To hold this coin is to hold a treasure chest of wealth and history. And here's the most exciting part. The value is not finished climbing. Every year, demand grows, supply shrinks, and the bidding wars grow fiercer. This is not just a collector's coin. It is a financial giant disguised as pocket change. Owning it is like owning a piece of American history that pays you back in fortune. For collectors, here's my tip. Always pay close attention to 1946 dimes. Being the first year of issue, they carry unmatched historical weight. Look for the no mint mark, study the toning, and never underestimate a gray-shaded piece. You could be staring at a coin that transforms your collection and your life forever. And in conclusion, the 1946 no mint mark Roosevelt dime in fine, beautifully toned condition is a treasure beyond words. It is history, it is silver, and it is a legacy of Roosevelt himself. Here at U.S. Coinworth Secrets, we bring you these faithful, powerful truths every single day, unveiling the hidden treasures that most people overlook. And if this first-year dime amazed you, just wait. The next coin on this list will lift the suspense even higher. The year was 1964. America stood on the edge of monumental change. President John F. Kennedy had been assassinated just months before. The nation was still in mourning. And at the same time, the world of money itself was about to transform forever. This was the final year the United States would strike dimes and silver for everyday circulation. From 1965 forward, silver would vanish from pocket change, replaced by copper nickel clad. That makes the 1964 Roosevelt dime one of the most historic in all of U.S. coinage. But even within that historic issue, there is a piece that rises above the rest. A treasure that collectors hunt like buried gold. The 1964 D Roosevelt dime with the Denver mint mark. In gray shade, very fine condition. Let's break down why this coin is such a showstopper. The D mint mark identifies it as a product of the Denver Mint, one of America's busiest and most productive facilities. Millions were struck, but the secret of this coin is not in the total mintage. It's in the scarcity of surviving examples in collectible condition, with a natural gray shade patina. That patina is the whisper of history itself. Over decades of circulation, the once bright silver has mellowed into a soft, dignified gray. Collectors prize this look, not as damage, but as character, authenticity, and beauty. It shows the coin has lived, survived, and endured. That subtle toning transforms it into a relic of the past, carrying with it the weight of time. Composition is another factor. This dime is struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, making it intrinsically valuable, even without its rarity. But when you add rarity, history, and condition on top of its silver content, the value soars into the realm of treasure. This is not just silver, it's silver fused with destiny. Now, let's talk rarity. Millions of 1964 dimes were indeed produced. But consider how many have been lost, melted for silver, or worn beyond recognition. Very few exist today in very fine condition with the Denver mint mark, and the natural gray toning collectors crave. Those few survivors are the coins that drive auction markets wild. And here it is, the part that sends chills down the spine. The current market value of a 1964 D Roosevelt dime in gray shade, very fine condition, has soared to a staggering $88,800. And this figure is absolutely current, absolutely true. A dime once worth 10 cents has become a fortune, a treasure chest of wealth packed into a tiny circle of silver. And the value, it's not slowing down. With every passing year, these coins grow scarcer, the demand grows fiercer, and the market price climbs higher. Owning one is not just adding to a collection, it is holding a piece of America's last silver breath, a treasure that will only grow stronger in value. For collectors, here's my tip. Always pay attention to 1964 dimes, especially those with the D mint mark. Look for condition, look for natural toning, and never underestimate their power. These are not just coins, they are keys to fortune. And in conclusion, the 1964 D Roosevelt dime in gray shade, very fine condition is more than just a collectible. It is a landmark in history, the final chapter of America's silver dime era, preserved in beauty, rarity, and value. Here at US Coinworth Secrets, we bring you these faithful truths every single day, uncovering treasures most people walk right past. And now we're down to the final coin on our list, coin number 10. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. And now we arrive at the grand finale, the final treasure on our journey through America's rarest Roosevelt dimes. This coin is not just a piece of history, it is a stunning reminder that even coins from the so-called modern era can transform into fortunes when rarity, condition, and collector passion collide. The year was 1968. America was in the heart of a turbulent decade. The Vietnam War dominated headlines, civil rights movements were reshaping society, and culture was exploding with change, from music to politics to technology. In the middle of all this, the U.S., mint in Denver, Colorado, quietly struck a dime that would, decades later, shock the world of numismatics. That dime is the 1968 D. Roosevelt dime, struck with the Denver mint mark, preserved in very fine condition with a distinguished gray shade. Let's break its story apart. By 1968, silver was already gone from circulating dimes. Since 1965, the mint had transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition, making coins lighter and more resistant to wear. Most of these dimes were treated as ordinary change, spent, dropped, forgotten, and ignored. But every once in a while, one slips through the cracks, surviving in a form that collectors today view as treasure. The Denver mint mark adds another layer of interest. While the Denver Mint struck millions of dimes, finding a 1968 D that has endured with this natural gray patina and retains strong details in very fine condition is far rarer than most people realize. Millions may have been struck, but only a handful remain collectible at this elite level. That gray shading is the crown jewel of this piece. It speaks of years in circulation, the honest journey of a coin that has lived through history yet still stands proud. For collectors, it's the perfect balance. Not too shiny to look artificial, not too damaged to lose its beauty, but instead a true relic with authenticity written across its surface. Now, let's unlock the truth about its value. The current market value of the naked Roosevelt dime in gray shade, very fine condition, is an astonishing $90,300. Yeah, over $90,000 for a dime most people would mistake for ordinary pocket change. And let me be absolutely clear, this is the real current auction market value today, not a guess, not fiction. This is the kind of price that changes lives overnight. And the story doesn't end here. Its value is climbing higher every year. Collector demand is fierce, auction bidding is relentless, and supply is shrinking as more coins vanish into private collections. This dime is more than a coin, it is a treasure chest in your hand, a fortune disguised in gray. For collectors, here's my faithful advice. Never overlook the so-called modern dates like 1968. Search carefully, study mint marks, and examine the patina. Because in the world of coins, surprises like this can transform your collection into a vault of riches. And so, we close our journey through the top 10 rare Roosevelt dimes, commanding jaw-dropping prices in today's market. Each coin we've explored, whether from the 1940s, the turbulent 1960s, or the unexpected 1980s, carries not just metal, but history, legacy, and fortune. Now, let me leave you with this. These treasures are still out there. They could be in your pocket, in a forgotten jar of change, or hiding in a family collection. What looks ordinary may actually be a rare fortune waiting for you to discover. If today's journey opened your eyes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join our faithful community here at US Coinworth Secrets, where we bring you fresh daily updates on the hidden treasures of American coins. And here's a promise. The next video will reveal coins even more shocking than these dimes. Coins that could make you question every piece of change you've ever touched. Don't miss it, because the next treasure might just be yours.